good afternoon, racing fans. Welcome to Hawthorne Racecourse for a Thursday afternoon of Thoroughbred action. Jim Miller and Emily Gullikson up here in our mezzanine level studio. And Emily, fortunately, Mother Nature's been nice to us for once. I'll tell you, rain was forecasted Monday, Wednesday, Thursday this week. We got a little bit on Monday.
A little bit overnight, it looked like.
Slight bits, a mile south of here today, they got a bunch of rain. Here we didn't get anything this morning. It was great, but our turf crew was out there. They walked the entire turf course yesterday, filling any spots they needed to be filled. They rolled the entire turf course yesterday, so it's flat as a pancake right now. And then the rain missed us so far. We're in good shape for a really good Thursday card.
It must be somebody's birthday wish coming
That's
true, I
right.
must say.
If I asked for anything else, that's all I wanted was fast main track and a firm turf course.
It's a simple ask, really. It's a simple ask.
It is a simple ask. Hey, we got through Sunday's races there with the stakes and the two sprints
Hopefully,
late
we got to hold that a few more hours.
You know what? The good thing is we're in a similar situation to Sunday. We can handle a little bit of rain if it comes. And Sunday we had a really heavy downpour like that third race. Then it's still held together. Two really good sprint stakes on Sunday, and now we move forward to another really good week of racing. But I'm very happy this race, this card kind of stayed on the grass, because you look, Belterra is off, Indiana's off the turf too. Saratoga is on the turf there today, but I think as we get later in the day, it's really going to be kind of us, Saratoga and Woodbine, staggering throughout the remainder of the card.
Yeah, and today's card is good. There's very few scratches, some competitive races as we go through this 9, and yeah, looking to finish it through, hopefully fast and firm all the way.
That is the hope here. Let's take a look at the 9 races today. Open things up going 3/4 of a mile on the main track, and race number 1 on the 6 Lunarchy put Frank Reyes aboard. Field of 5 in today's opener. Right now that 9-5 favorite is the 5 Smooth Justice. Probably a deserving favorite in this spot. I think this is the horse to beat in the opener. How about you?
I completely agree. Fits the conditions perfectly, just appears well placed, finds that subtle change in class, and has the right running style for today's race shape as well. Has some tactical speed, finishing ability, is drawn outside some of the other speed, so should be able to work out a trip. I think a very logical favorite. Now, as far as the board right now, I'd say the value is number 2, Jocelyn, to try to get a share underneath. Again, just kind of hooking those two up, but Smooth Justice as the most likely winner and your current 9-5 favorite.
Yeah, 9-5 favorite in there. The other one at 9-5 was the other one to give a look to. That's the 3 Mused. Muse scratched out of a spot on Sunday that I thought was a much tougher spot for this race, and Muse comes in where if you get to that race 2 back, that was a good effort. That last out wasn't a great effort at Horseshoe Indianapolis, where you pick up Jareth Ludbury in the saddle. We'll see what we get here out of Mused in today's opener. Second race on the card had what I thought was a pretty big scratch. The 5 Diamond Dave was out of here just because I thought that was a horse that could run on late. We go 1 mile and 70 yards in this spot. I ended up now scratching into the 3 Kozan Success. I know for you were all over the 6 Unified Weekend thinking today was the day.
Yeah, I still think the race shape should set up Unified Weekend. It's a little bit cold in the doubles, so I was kind of looking at that going, oh, maybe the horse just isn't taking that much money compared to what I thought. But yeah, Kozan Success has some early speed and should be able to get out there and clear, so that gives me some reservations.
Sure.
But I do think that if there is a scenario where Blurt tries to push it, Unified Weekend sitting outside those 2 will look to take first run.
That was kind of how I saw things when I initially picked Diamond Dave in the spot. I thought he was just going to kind of sit back early on if those 2 went and just start picking off horses late, because that was a really good effort after a poor break in that last out, and maybe just the form was right, but not going to happen today because they're out of here. So Kozan Success, Unified Weekend, both going to take a lot of action.
Can't win if you don't play.
That's exactly right there. Race number 3 goes to the turf. 7.5 furlongs on the firm turf course, $20,000 claimers, non-winners of 3 races lifetime. You and I think, kind of see things similarly in this spot. All Choked Up, we know is going to take a lot of action because it has in the last 2 and has run well on the grass in those last couple. I thought there was a decent amount of pace in this race. I ended up with Lawmaker in this spot. I thought the horse just is sitting in a spot to maybe turn things around. Steve Manley sending this one up today, and really probably going to be a pretty nice price too.
Yeah, co-sign on all of that I think just sets up nicely for today's race, just in terms of trip, in terms of timing, in terms of intent, and in terms of price for those that are playing, and should create an alternative. As you mentioned, there's some pace in here to make things a little bit tougher on the projected favored All Choked Up, so I think we can get creative and get lucky with a bit of a price.
Yeah, I agree with you there. Yeah. I mean, Hey Moon's the other one that maybe could pose a little bit of a threat just off of how big of a race that was in that last out. That was a little bit surprising there too.
Yeah, it did get a perfect trip, but might just be the horse that is in form and kind of putting it all together, lightly raced and improving type, so wouldn't be a surprise, but not going to be the price it was last out.
No, 31 to 1 in that last out. You're definitely not going to get that today. Fourth race on the card. This is a really good field of 2-year-old fillies in this spot. We go 5/8 of a mile, take out the 7, Eliza Vance. Ravelli does have one other in there. It's the Illinois fold horse, the 4. That's a Little Poison. That one will take some action, but you have Bella Vittoria in here who could be pretty tough. No Tip Tony who would be tough. She stopped short along the inside who could also be tough. Big question is which one of these firsters are going to step up, and if they can step up to beat any of the horses that have some races under their belt.
Yeah, I thought it was going to be pretty simple, everything kind of going through Eliza Vance, and now, as you mentioned, it kind of opens it up that there's no real standout. A lot of first-time starters, a lot of horses that maybe that experience will carry on an edge. YNR2 when one will do. Maybe that's the case for Little Poison with Jareth Loveberry aboard, was entered back on July 11th, scratched out of that race, shows up here against Open Company. That can be intent. I went back and watched the sales work for number 1. She stopped short. I like what I saw just in terms of the efficiency of movement. It wasn't one of those that like stopped the clock, worked 10 and 2, but just did it right, has worked forwardly since. So I like those two in this spot, and just, again, hopefully getting a little bit lucky, and we'll have to look at the horses in the board, obviously, and we'll have that benefit, but in terms of the multi-race sequence, not so much. So maybe spread a little bit in there.
Yeah, and it is. It looks like a quality bunch, so there may be the potential to spread in that spot. Bella Vittoria, the reason I like this one too, not only the pattern of works is very sharp, but the fact that they took the time to bring this horse down to the paddock during the race day and school it last week. So all those little things leading up to that debut race are things that they're kind of trying to check off the checklist there. They did that with this runner, and I think they're really high on Bella Vittoria. I don't mind the draw in the middle of the field, just have to get away in good order. Then again, we'll see what kind of action we get, and we'll see how these horses are looking and how they're acting there when they get to the paddock for race number 4. Race 5 is the first of two $50,000 optional claimant allowance runners. They go 3/4 of a mile in here. It's a field of 7 to line up for the girls. Wilma Mankiller is a horse that came off that lengthy layoff for that last out for trainer Larry Ravelli. Ran a pretty good race in that spot, was beaten by a couple of others that are in this field. I think, though, she has every right to step off that start. I think she could be a little bit better today.
Yeah, I think so too, and I think she could be the controlling speed in here. But with that said, it's not like she's going to be low, and the pace looks like it should be contentious in here, and that was the one reason why I looked outside Wilma Mankiller, though certainly the most dangerous horse in this race, and certainly has plenty of wins. I went really creative in here with number 1, Flamand. She's got back races that fit on her best day. Not always the most consistent to pair off those races. Some of the races this year kind of needed the start at Churchill Downs, racing into shape. And again, she's got stakes experience, she's got that back numbers, and if there is just kind of the right time and place, she's going to be a big price in here, so I'm taking a shot.
They were very high on her early on. I mean,
yeah.
She broke her maiden at first dash, and she came right off that and ran another good race in her second start out, although getting disqualified in there. And then it was 4 straight stakes races. So the horse has some ability. Again, that last out, okay, didn't show a ton in that spot, but every right to definitely step up in here. Why not? If you're going to try to beat the favorites, shoot for a big price there.
Yeah, I think the timing, like needed the race at Churchill, then ran here like a little bit too quick, and now she's had a little bit more time. Again, need some racing luck, but you're going to have plenty of price compensation, and it starts and ends some sequences.
Yeah, right, exactly right. The end of the early pick 4, early pick 5, start of the late pick 5, so a whole lot just kind of goes through that 5th race today. 6th race on the card goes 1 mile and 70 yards, $5,000 claimers in here. Put Carlos Hulot on the 2, Bourbon Delight, Frank Reyes on the 3, 2 Cookie Rule. It leaves you with a field of 7 to line up in this spot. You can go a few different ways. I ended up on 2 Cookie Rule, and I actually don't mind Frank Reyes back in the saddle because he was aboard this one last time out.
Yeah, I like 2 Cookie Rule last out. I like those 2 horses. They ran 1-2. It was very tight at the wire. Not going to be quite the number today on 2 Cookie Rule. Now has been exposed off that last race, but fits right back under similar conditions in here. But I agree, you can go a couple different ways. The pace should be honest with the 2 inside runners, Flying Samurai, Bourbon Delight, creating some pace in here. I think that benefits 2 Cookie Rule to sit right behind those 2 and look to take first run. Mr. Charming has just been knocking on the door. His horses just could find a similar trip, sitting right outside 2 Cookie Rule, those 2 trying to get that first run. And then number 7, Wild Warrior. I was kind of curious whether you were going to go to this one because I know you picked him in the last couple times. Did have a favorable trip last out, kind of came up a little bit short, but maybe this is the time. Barn's starting to find some steam.
Yeah, it is. I picked the horse 3rd in that spot,
okay.
and I did like him last out. Adamar Santos back in the saddle today. Completely has turned that form around over the course of those last couple of starts. Probably going to get somewhere around that 6-1 in here just based off those last couple of races, but that's a good competitive bunch there for race number 6. 7th race on the card. We still have the main track onlys in here for now. I expect that they will come out as long as we know that we're going to be on the turf course today. But $10,000.
I think Equibase has them out.
Okay, they might have them out
Yeah,
then already. Okay.
yeah. I just double checked.
Sure.
It looks like they're
So Can't Steal My Thunder and Cool Quartet out in the spot. It's a 1 1/8. I love 1 1/8 races. You get a full run into that first turn to find position, all the way around in a full run of the stretch here. Looking up and down the field, Policy Option now is the horse that I think on the turf has everything set up for this one. The only question for me really is if there's enough pace to chase. We know Wicked Surprise is going to go. Policy Option kind of tends to come from out of it. I just hope this horse can run him down.
It's going to be tricky, the race shape. Even the plot is like, I don't know who's going to make the lead. I'm not putting anybody in quadrant one. It's all up to the rider. So we'll have to see. Could assist a horse like Wicked Surprise, who, distance-wise we'll see. But if you get Lone and Brave on the lead, why not? Policy Option, I think, just fits, just checks kind of some of the boxes. I wouldn't mind on either surface, really. Look like a prep last out and to come back in this spot. That's the way I went. You'll have to work out a trip, but I think sometimes if you're the best horse, you can find the right trip.
Yeah, I agree with you there. Jockey Luis Colon has had himself a very good meet, rides the turf course well, finishes well aboard horses too. Like I said, it's just a matter of getting this one rolling, but if they can get Policy Option going into the lane, this is a horse that could just roll by all of them there in race number 7. 8th race is a good race, even despite a couple of scratches. Take out the 1-0 Nasa, take out the 2 Comiskey Park. Comiskey Park was in the turf sprint stake last weekend. Luis Colon is aboard the 7. Richie's on a roll. I think you and I saw the race similarly, that there was still a decent amount of pace and somebody to run at them late. I know you kind of gave the nod to Navy SEAL. I went to Richie's on a roll, but I think we're both kind of expecting similar trips today.
Yeah, I would use both to be perfect. To be perfectly honest, I put Navy SEAL on top. I think he's going to be a better price, but it kind of looks more like a wise guy horse. So maybe not. Maybe the value will end up shifting to Richie's on a roll, and then that way I'm completely happy to flip flop. I also think we can see a better effort out of number 5 Fit to Fly, who could just be the controlling speed. I mean, just probably needed the race last out, and then in the gate just lost their race in the gate, so you can draw a line through that, complete excuse, and we'll see how the track plays at that point. But could be the controlling speed, even though there are some others in here. Could be the time and place, but yeah, I think it sets up perfectly for either Navy SEAL or Richie's on a roll. Will come down to price.
I mean, Faithful Ruler's going to show speed. Eli's Promise typically shows speed. Fit to Fly has the potential to, but at least the other 2 horses we know are going. So it's going to be a contested pace up front early on. We'll see if they come back to the field here, but yeah, it's a really good bunch there for race number 8. Then in the finale, you get another good field here. As in the spot, we're going 7.5 furlongs on the firm turf course. Scratch the 11, Spicy Italian, and I'm guessing the 12, Cali Sue, is now out of the spot too, or will be soon as the main track only. And maybe soon.
Last time I refreshed Equibase, it hadn't come up yet.
And it just comes down to Lasix times. They get all the way up to Lasix time to make that decision there, so they have a little bit more time for the finale today. But allowance runners going 7.5 furlongs in the spot. Looking up and down this field, I guess it's going to be a matter of distance for Bolt Oro. Is this a horse that usually wants to go a little bit longer there? I took a stab at Church Pew in this spot, running some pretty good races of late. Thought there was a chance at a price just because nobody really jumped off the page at me. Yeah,
I mean, why not? This horse snuck away last time as well, and was, I think, part of a carryover sequence that day as well. At a huge price, has just been improving, and we'll have to take another step forward, but if you get price compensation, why not? With a horse that's doing well. As far as class and some versatility, I gave a slight edge to Boltoro in here. Should be able to get the right trip, has some early speed, is on the inside. And then number 6, Visionista, is the one I want to use in here at a bit of a price. It's kind of like Flemond earlier in the card, doesn't really have that form that just kind of stands out. But if you dig through and you find those races, you say, okay, that race wins. All right, that one wins. Okay, this race has a subtle trip. Why not? You put Visionista in there at 20 to 1.
Well, and again, you're going to get some pace to chase in this spot. Somebody should come running at him late. Visionista's got the style here, and Olaf, another guy who's been riding very well on the meet. So we will see how things unfold. It's a really good card today, and it's one of those where you want to jump in, take advantage of that 12% takeout on win, play, show, wager in each and every race here at Hawthorne. As we'll flip back to the opener, take a look at the field for the first. As in race number 1, you have $5,000 claimers in the spot. They go 3/4 of a mile. Look at me. Oh, happy birthday. That's a handsome guy right there, isn't it? The red looks pretty good. I don't know when the last time I was in a suit and tie. It's a relaxing job. We get to it's an entertaining job. So that was so nice of them. I'm glad they didn't put an age on there. They may not know my age, which is perfectly fine too.
It's 21, as we all know.
There you go. 21 is the age that you want to go with. The scary thing is that would be really hard since I've been at Hawthorne for more than 21 years. But we'll worry about that down the line there. But thank you guys up in the TV room. Emily, thank you as well. As here in the opener, field of 6, the lines up, put Frank Reyes on the 6-horse Lunarchy in this spot. 3-2 on the board on the 5, Smooth Justice. That's who we're going to start out by taking a look at. And as you mentioned, this one runs for trainer Antonio Miraz. Last 3 starts at Horseshoe Indianapolis, some starts at Hawthorne earlier on in the meet, but kind of seems to be rounding into form.
Yeah, it's held the form all season long. It's just been knocking on the door, looking for the right spot and the right trip to get the win, and that should be here. They tried Horseshoe Indianapolis as a state bred, has that bonus eligibility, finished second last out. It was a little bit warm that day, had some trouble at the start, rushed up, so a subtle trip there because that pace was very fast early on. Going back to the races here at Hawthorne earlier this year, was just running at a much higher race par. Even if she runs back to those Hawthorne efforts from back in opening day and in April, should be able to win. And I think the horse just placed properly, has the right running style, and again, just overdue for that win.
Yeah, and we'll see how things unfold for this one. Getting saddled on the walk, that's kind of the norm, though, for Smooth Justice from what we've seen in the past for this racehorse. But a couple of starts here at Hawthorne earlier on in the meet. Distance definitely suits. I agree with you. The horse to beat, it's just a matter of if Smooth Justice is going to continue that trend that this one has over the course of recent starts. 3-horse here at 2-1 right there is Mused. Jareth Ludbury aboard Mused today for Augustin Gonzalez Jr. This one ran a good race, too, back over this Hawthorne strip back in April. After that, followed up with a race at the end of May at Horseshoe in Indianapolis. Some time away from the races after that, so that was the one concern for me. But you scratched out of a tougher spot on Sunday for today's race, and I think the 3 Mused is a horse that might be able to step up and maybe show a little bit, at least be competitive in this spot.
They should be competitive in here, no excuses on that front. All the form this year, excusing that most recent start back on May 30th, fits on par. That gave me some concern, though, just the fact that you're going to drop off a poor performance. Yep. Does bring some confidence back to see Jareth Ludbury aboard with that combination of moves. But still, enough reservations that if Mused was going to be a short price with a favorite that I think is legit, I had to go one way or the other,
sure,
and made that decision. She wouldn't surprise me by any means, but just enough reservations at a short price to look elsewhere.
Yeah, exactly, and it is. It's a matter of what you're going to get for price compensation here at the end, as we did see some action there going over to Smooth Justice. Mused sitting right now currently at 3-1. The 2 is Jocelyn. Jocelyn at 7-1 on the board right now. This one from the barn of trainer Joel Campbell. Rashawn Blanche in the saddle today. Had a route race 2 back, turned back to the sprint for that last out. Really never got in the mix because it was all over at the start in the slop that day. So if you could put a line through that start, I think you can put a horse like Jocelyn in the mix.
I think Jocelyn had a complete excuse back on July 7th. The storm hit mid-card, changed the track conditions. She was unprepared at the start, lunged straight up in the air, broke in a tangle. She raced wide from off the pace in hand. They come right back. They did consider running in a different spot, not the most ideal there. But again, her better races fit on par. It's a second start off the claim. I think there's intention in here, and this is the time to get some value because of that most recent running line.
Yeah, and do make note again, it's a warm day here in the Chicagoland area, so a lot of these horsemen have buckets of waters there in the stalls. There's hoses as they walk over, so difference between hosing the horses off and a horse washing out there, that's something to look to. But yeah, Jocelyn just got that bucket of water just to kind of help keep this one cool in the paddock in preparation for today's race. The 4-horse here at 6-1 is Kitten Rocks. This one from the barn of Brian Cook. Rachel Slavinsky gets the call today. Came in off a lengthy layoff into that last out. Probably needed that start. It wasn't terrible by any means, but maybe shows a little bit more in here today.
Yeah, and I don't think there was much intent going back to May 19th. Her stablemate was the 1-2 chalk. I think that was Ghost Storm and Curl that day, who ended up finishing third and then coming back to win. It looked like Kitten Rocks was in the race, needed the race. I would have preferred to see her back a little bit sooner than the 74 days she returns to make the second start of the meet, but there can definitely be some excuses for that return race and could be some intent. We're seeing some action right now on her best day, certainly fits. Again, I think it's just going to come down to price, come down to trip. We do see the front wraps on today as well, which is pretty common for her.
Yeah, we'll see how things unfold as they're heading out for race number 1. Good luck.
Coming on the track for today's first race to go 6 furlongs on a fast track. Field of 6, rider change number 6, Lunar King, make the jockey Frank Reyes. There are no overweights. Win, play, show, exacta, trifecta, superfecta. This race starts the rolling daily doubles, rolling pick threes, the $1 place pick 8, and the 50-cent early pick 5. Number 1 is Zanchua Sky. Edamar Santos is up. 2 is Jocelyn with Rashawn Blanche in the irons. 3 Mused will be handled by Jarrett Loveberry. Number 4, Kitten Rocks, Rachel Slavinsky. 5, Smooth Justice, Olaf Hernandez riding. 6 is Lunar King, note the jockey change, Frank Reyes riding number 6. Win, play, show, exacta, trifecta, superfecta. This race starts the $1 place pick 8, the 50-cent early pick 5. A reminder, win, play, show, lowest takeout in the country, just 12%. The place pick 8 pool, just 8% takeout. Dirt track is fast, turf is firm today here at Hawthorne. 4 minutes for the first. Racing fans, little time remains for you to wager on today's first race, which features rolling doubles, rolling pick threes, the 50-cent early pick five, and the $1 place pick eight. We do thank you for joining us wherever it may be across the betting network. We have a 9-race program today. Track is listed as fast, and the turf is listed as firm with the rails set at 0 feet. We have one carryover pool to report. The 9th race has a high five carryover of $1,395. Cloudy skies, no wind to speak of here. It's a warm day in the Chicagoland area, and you have less than a minute to wager on the first race. They're moving towards the gate. Racing fans are at the starting gate for today's first race here at Hawthorne, first of 9 on the Thursday program. Remember our racing schedule now Thursday and Sundays. Every day we race, 2:10 Central Time. Horses are entering the starting gate. Last two to go in will be Mused and Lunarchy. Waiting now for Lunarchy. She's in, they're all in the gate. They're off. Towards the inside, Zenchua Sky has early speed. From the outside, Smooth Justice moves up. In between horses, Mused, Smooth Justice takes the lead. Mused racing second, Zenchua Sky 2 lengths back. Third, Kitten Rocks alongside her. Fourth, inside Jocelyn fifth. Lunarchy is sixth. They're covered by 12 lengths with a half mile to run. They're chasing Smooth Justice. And into the far turn, Smooth Justice a length. Mused tracking in second. Now these two have drawn clear double digits from the rest of the field. It's Zenchua Sky followed by Kitten Rocks moving up, and then it's Jocelyn losing a bit of ground, and Lunarchy still at the end. At the top of the stretch, Smooth Justice has scampered away. Around the turn, they're in the stretch. Smooth Justice comes off the turn, 4 on top. Mused still chasing second. Kitten Rocks is third, and then on the outside, Zenchua Sky fourth, followed by Jocelyn along the rail fifth. A little more than a 16th to go. Smooth Justice in full command. Here's Kitten Rocks now taking over second, but no threat to the winner. Smooth Justice in the Thursday opener, won by about 10. Kitten Rocks was second. Jocelyn up for third. Mused fourth. In today's first race, 5, Smooth Justice finished first. 4, Kitten Rock second, 2, Jocelyn third, 3, Muse fourth, 5, 4, 2, 3 is posted. It's unofficial, 111.03 the running time. Returning the unofficial winner, 5, Smooth Justice. Smooth Justice, owned and trained by Antonio Moraz, was ridden to victory by Ola Fernandez.